driving to pick up Joel after his business dinner. His client sat in the back seat, speaking without restraint. "Is this your new assistant? TSK. Not as attractive as the last one," Joel hurried to explain, forcing a smile. "You're mistaken. This is my wife, Celina." "Not." But the client, reeking of alcohol, cut him off. "Well then, your taste in wives is far worse than in assistants." The light turned red. I slammed on the brakes, my face turning cold. Chapter 1. Don't take it to heart. He's drunk. Seeing my expression darken, Joel quickly lowered his voice and leaned closer to coax me. His warm breath mixed with alcohol brushed against my ear. The client, oblivious, kept slurring obscene jokes. "Oh, Joel, I'm telling you, that assistant you brought last time, now she was something else." Joel froze mid-movement. I turned my head and unexpectedly met his pleading eyes. "We'll talk at home," Joel whispered, trying to appease me. I knew what he meant. With the rise of AI, the traditional creative industry was in decline. The company we founded together, JC Studios, was in urgent need of transformation. This client was crucial. Joel was afraid I'd lash out and ruin the deal, undoing all his efforts. I understood the stakes, but my eyes locked on the taillights ahead, while a numb chill spread through my limbs. Joel's assistant was someone I personally hired, a scholarly young man with glasses, lean and clean-cut. He had nothing to do with the word sexy. A woman bought for the night? No, Joel would never stoop that low. Then who exactly was this assistant that the client kept reminiscing about? The atmosphere in the car turned glacial, yet the client was oblivious, smacking his lips, savoring the memory. He slurred again. Long curly hair, the way her waist twisted when she toasted, and that chest bouncing up and down. "Hick, what a beauty. If I hadn't seen you two making out. Hick, I would have taken her home myself." Joel's face went deathly pale. He jerked forward, nearly climbing into the back seat. "Sit quietly and rest. I'll wake you when we arrive." His tone was hard, as though forgetting the man behind him was a powerful client. Luckily, the man was too drunk to notice. Already snoring, the light turned green, rigid with rage. I slammed the gas. The car shot forward, throwing Joel back into his seat. He glanced at me quickly, fastened his seatbelt tighter, and said nothing. I gripped the wheel, my trembling hands refusing to steady. In the company, there was only one young girl with long curly hair, and she was the same one Joel was desperate enough to protect, even at the risk of offending a client. My assistant, Eva, Joel's freshly graduated cousin. Chapter 2. Do you have no shame? The moment we dropped the client off and Joel got back into the car, I slapped him. He had expected it, tilting his head so the force landed weaker. "Celina, I'm exhausted. Can we talk when we get home?" He really did look tired, so tired that his shoulders collapsed the instant he spoke. He rubbed his temples, leaned back with his eyes closed, and stayed silent for a long time. Talk about what? The car was dark, shaking all over. I stared at his shadowed profile, tears flooding uncontrollably. My hollow voice trembled with my body. Talk about how you schemed to put Eva right under my nose? About how you took her to meet clients behind my back, how you kissed her in front of them. Eva's mother had married Joel's uncle as a second wife. They weren't related by blood, but still, they carried the name of cousins. "Celina, stop." Joel suddenly dropped his hand and barked. My reason snapped, digging my nails into my palm. I met his drunken eyes through the dark. My words didn't stop. "Or do you want to tell me how you, Joel, called her your cousin in public, while taking her to bed in private?" "Celina, that's enough. I'm telling you, it's not as filthy as you think." His roar cut me off. This time, Joel sat up straight, leaning in close. His drunken eyes glistened with water. "Have you forgotten? That night I begged you, how did you answer me?" My breathing stalled, then quickened. Joel was talking about last Tuesday. I had cooked for hours after a sleepless night, waiting for him to come home only to receive a call. His voice slurred with alcohol. "Babe, can you come to Yushin Club, please? This client's impossible. I can't handle him alone." I hung up without a word, dumping all the food into the trash. Joel had drunk too much that night. He forgot that I once told him I despised men who dragged women into business banquets. And he forgot that night was our wedding anniversary. Normally, I would drive to pick him up, arriving on the dot. But that night, I was too angry. I went to bed early, tossing until nearly dawn before Joel finally stumbled home. I pretended to sleep, hearing him stand by the bed for a long time. Chapter 3. In front of me, Joel's face was dark. If Eva hadn't come to pick me up that night, do you realize I might not have even made it home? I would have gone straight to the hospital for gastric lavage. She only got forced into kissing me because she was trying to pull me away from the table. She's a good, innocent girl who endured that humiliation for my sake. After dropping me off, she even stayed in the car until I sobered up before leaving. If it weren't for Eva, I couldn't even have closed that deal with the client. Moisture clouded Joel's eyes, then suddenly turned into tears that streamed down his cheeks. Celina, I've never betrayed you. I never cheated. And I've never once thought about being with another woman. But Celina, honestly, this past year, I really feel that something between us has changed. The alcohol began to fully hit. Joel's confident defense gradually dissolved into a slur, mumbling until he finally collapsed. Drunk, I stared blankly at his tilted profile, not even realizing that my own tears had already dried. From beneath the seat, Joel's phone buzzed again and again. I leaned down and picked it up. The screen showed messages from Evita. My hand trembled as I slid open the lock screen, typing in my own birthday. It unlocked easily. The sender's profile picture, unsurprisingly, was Eva's cute selfie. Message after message popped up. Big brother's not behaving. Why is tonight's goodnight so late? Don't tell me you drank too much again? Should I ride my fiery wheels to come rescue you? Dummy. Next time something like this happens, you should tell me in advance. Come on. Where are you? I'll come pick you up right now. The buzzing stopped. My fingers shook as I scrolled upward. 6 pages. The chat log's timestamps all belonged to today. The screen was a sea of gray bubbles, Eva talking to herself. Almost got caught. Thank goodness Celina didn't notice. Pouty selfie, JPG. Celina is always so fierce. I really can't bring myself to call her sister-in-law. Calling her boss slips out easier. Hee. Tongue out selfie, JPG. Brother, I'm going downstairs to eat. I brought you a coffee with love. Selfie with coffee cup labeled brother, JPG. The weather is so nice today. All the flowers downstairs are blooming. Flower tucked by temple selfie, JPG. Finally, on the 7th page, I found a single green bubble. Joel's message, sent last night at 9:21 p.m. Good night, Evita. Chapter 4. The night was deep. I parked the car at the foot of a deserted hill. Joel's phone lying on the center console. Eva's calls came one after another, flashing and fading in the darkness. Leaning over the steering wheel, I stared blankly at Joel's profile. His last words before passing out kept echoing in my ears. Changed. Yes, it had changed. 5 years of dating. 5 years of marriage. Joel and I had met while starting our business. From nothing, we built JC Imaging together. 10 years of shared struggle. Until this year, when arguments began to erupt over and over. The rise of AI shattered our main business model. Competitors collapsed one after another. Employees left in droves. In this life or death struggle, I knew exactly how hard Joel had worked. I had driven countless late nights to pick him up from drinking sessions and take him straight to the hospital. I had spent countless sleepless nights hunched over the computer, drafting partnership proposals for clients that weren't even half secured. I pitied Joel, and I saw the reality earlier than he did. I had suggested many times we sell the company and move to a new field, but Joel refused. Celina, the company is like our child. You and I raised it together. How can I just abandon it? He clung to a crumbling company, like a man refusing to evacuate his home in the path of a disaster. I persuaded him. We're still young. We can start over. I scolded him. Joel, the company's been losing money for 3 quarters straight. If this keeps up, our 10 years of savings will vanish into thin air. I pleaded with him. Honey, didn't you say you wanted to be a father? Weren't we planning to have a baby this year? Are you really willing for our child to be born into a family on the brink of bankruptcy? But he wouldn't budge. When I brought up children, his face went cold. His jaw locked. Celina, We already have a child. Until JC turns around, we're not having another one. To prove his resolve, he even carried his quilt into another room. I was furious and amused, coaxing him for hours before he finally came back. The pressure in my chest was suffocating. I exhaled long and hard, lowering the window. I lit a cigarette. The smoke curled away into the night breeze. I glanced at Joel, asleep beside me. He resented me, but I hadn't been idle either. Today marked my 6th consecutive night of overtime at the office. The proposal I'd revised again and again, the one I delivered, had the name of today's automotive executive stamped across the top. Before this week, before last Tuesday, I had worked 15 straight days to complete another version of the very same proposal. Through action, I had supported Joel's refusal to give up, but Joel said, if it weren't for Eva, I wouldn't even have landed this client. He forgot it was me who stayed up all night on our wedding anniversary, who handed him the final version of that proposal. Talk talk. A knock on Joel's window. I startled back to the present and turned my head. Joel was still asleep, and there stood Eva, miraculously having tracked us down, her gaze cold and sharp through the glass. In the stillness of the night, her phone chimed with a pleasant ding-dong. I glanced at the console. Joel's phone pulsed with a soft pink breathing light, flashing in sync with the missed calls. They had installed some couples app, complete with location sharing. The pink glow and sweet chime, a ritual of matched love. Chapter 5. I reached out, grabbed Joel's phone, and stepped out of the car. Eva's gaze locked onto me as I walked around the hood. Stopping in front of her, she didn't bother greeting me. Her chest lifted, chin raised, jaw tight, none of the caution she usually showed me in the office. You came to pick him up? I tilted my head toward the car. Joel leaned against the window, profile sharp in the dim light, his proud brow bone, the bridge of his nose. At 32, he was in his prime, devastatingly handsome. Eva's eyes followed mine, landing on Joel's face. What showed there was undisguised tenderness, affection, like I didn't even exist. Wordlessly, I unlocked Joel's phone from a hidden folder. I pulled up the app with 2 pink hearts. On the homepage, Days in Love, 10. The linked account, Eva's smiling profile picture. The account creation date, last Tuesday. My lips curved, and I turned the screen toward her. This, you installed it behind his back, didn't you? Joel had never been good with electronics. Notifications piled on his phone unchecked. This app was hidden so well, he probably hadn't even noticed it. No. Eva's expression faltered for only a second before she lifted her chin. I told him I lost my phone. Needed location sharing. I tricked him into installing it. My brow twitched. My stomach dropped. The smile slid off my face. The hand gripping the phone began to tremble uncontrollably. I know what you're thinking. Eva caught every flicker of emotion across my face. She slipped her hands into her pockets, a mocking little smirk tugging at her lips. You think it's just one-sided, don't you? Sorry. Truth is, Joel knows exactly what this app is, and he didn't delete it. He knows I like him. He knows I've liked him since high school. 4 years. I came to your company for him. I kissed him in front of a client. I used my mouth while he was drunk. Eva's eyes glittered. She let the rest hang suggestively in the air. Of course. He scolded me afterwards, but not once did he push me away. She dangled a set of car keys, and after that, he bought me a car. You know what that means. Step by step. She closed the gap until she was right before me. I looked down at her, young, beautiful, eyes brimming with ambition and defiance. Her lips curved, flashing a sharp little tiger tooth in challenge. It means whenever I want to, I can go further, because Joel allows it. Chapter 6. I thought I'd be furious. I thought I'd slap her, twice, drag Joel out of the passenger seat, and tell her to take his drunken self and get lost. But I didn't. I stood steady, staring into Eva's smug, gleaming eyes. The fog in my mind thinned with the night breeze. And yet, one question still gnawed at me. Joel had no reason to lie to me. As I knew him, he'd never stoop so low. And then, click, the car door opened. Celina? We're not at home? Where are we? Joel's voice slurred, his steps unsteady as he climbed out. If he truly wanted to deceive me, he could have just stayed asleep. But the night air had woken him. The moment he saw both of us, he steadied himself. The three of us stood in a tense triangle, Joel at the apex. His gaze, instinctively, fell first on Eva, and in that instant, his eyes lit with that familiar spark, a spark I'd seen countless times in our decade together. It lasted only a heartbeat, but it was enough to drag my heart into the depths. At that moment, I finally saw clearly. Joel hadn't even realized it himself. His feelings for Eva were no longer innocent. He wasn't just lying to me. He'd managed to lie to himself. Brother, I came to get you. Eva's voice was syrupy, intimate. She rushed toward him. It's the middle of the night. What are you doing here? Joel looked around in confusion, but as Eva reached him, his arms opened on reflex. Eva slipped into them naturally, giving him a playful tap. You didn't answer my calls. I worked so hard to find you. Thank God for the location sharing, otherwise I'd have been worried sick. Her whole body pressed close to his, perhaps mindful of my presence. Joel shifted half a step away. He chuckled softly. Your sister-in-law's here to pick me up. What's there to worry about? But you, young girl, in the middle of the night, shouldn't you be sleeping instead of running around? How can picking you up be running around? You wouldn't even answer my calls. Eva shivered dramatically, burrowing further into him. You never grow up, do you? Joel sighed helplessly, and then he glanced at me, before opening an arm, loosely encircling Eva in a protective space. The triangle shifted. One side, him and her, locked in their own warmth. The other side, me, standing alone, just a few meters apart, but it might as well have been a chasm. Chapter 7. Joel. I called his name, lifting my wrist to glance at the time. 5 in the morning, perfect timing. I looked toward the mountain peak. Can you walk? Go up there with me? Now? Joel's brows knitted tight. His gaze met mine for a second, then fell, hesitant, toward Eva's shoes. The young girl, always chasing beauty, had come out in the middle of the night wearing a pair of pointed stilettos. Brother. Eva's fingers, curled around Joel's arm, pressed a little tighter. Joel understood her meaning. He covered her hand with his own, ready to refuse me. Eva. She. Not her. Just you and me. I cut him off, eyes locked on his movements. There are things I want to say to you alone. Joel froze, caught off guard, but before he could respond, Eva jumped forward, blocking his way. No, I'm coming too. She didn't call me sister-in-law, didn't call me boss. She spat out my name. Celina. Why do you want him to climb a mountain with you? Whatever you have to say, say it here. Fuming and flustered, she was like a little sparrow with its feathers puffed up. For a second, I almost laughed. A dark, nameless mountain at dawn. It did look like a strange place for a talk, but I knew Joel wouldn't refuse me. That mountain carried our memories. For 10 years. Every year, we had climbed it together on this very day. And sure enough, all right. After holding my gaze for more than 10 seconds, Joel nodded, but his feet didn't move. He looked down at Eva, reluctant, his face full of worry. Eva, can you drive back on your own? Just let her wait in the car. Her lips puckered, ready to whine, but I cut in, my voice cold. Joel instinctively looked up at me. I turned and took the first step. 10 years together, Joel knew me as well as I knew him. At last, he seemed to realize I was angry. The sky was lightening. The wind had stilled. I strode ahead, hearing Joel's hurried voice behind me. Eva, be good. Lock the doors and stay put. I'll be down soon after I talk with her. Don't worry. I walked too quickly. Whatever Eva said in reply, I didn't catch. But what I did hear, clear as day, was the wet, intimate sound that only comes with lips pressed and tongues entwined. I stopped dead, my head turning halfway. In the dim light, 10 meters away, two silhouettes were locked in each other's arms, so lost in their passion, they didn't even notice me. I tugged my lips into a smile, then turned back, striding toward the peak. My eyes were dry, not a single tear. Chapter 8. The higher we climbed, the stronger the wind grew. I marched quickly. The mountain path usually took 40 minutes, but I finished it in half the time. Then I waited another full 30 minutes for Joel. A year spent drowning at the banquet table had already hollowed his body out. By the time the sun's first golden edge broke over the horizon, he finally reached me, panting, collapsing beside me. I said nothing, waiting for his breath to steady. Before I could even speak, he asked first, his tone sharp, demanding, "What exactly do you have to say? Why did we have to come all the way here?" Joel's brows were furrowed, his gaze cast down toward the foot of the mountain. Down there, our cars sat parked, mine, and Eva's. Following his gaze, a question surfaced, not one of importance. "Really, Evita, is that Eva's nickname?" Joel stiffened, his hand flying instinctively to pat his pockets, searching. Then he froze. I pulled his phone from my pocket and held it out to him. "You went through my phone?" Joel snatched it back, his voice suddenly rising. I kept my eyes on him, unwavering, until his composure began to falter. "Celina, don't misunderstand." In a rush, he pulled up the family chat, shoving the screen at me. "Before Eva's mother married my uncle, her nickname was Evita. Later she changed her name as she grew up. But the older relatives still call her Evita. It feels affectionate." I just noted it down casually. Nothing more. His explanation was fast, meticulous, almost too perfect, as if he had prepared this answer long ago, just waiting for me to ask, so he could throw me a flawless, airtight reply. I smiled faintly, said nothing. The sun lifted higher, a glowing semicircle now above the clouds. I stared at it for a while, then asked again, "Why didn't you tell me you bought her a car?" Another question, one that shouldn't matter, but Joel already had an answer ready. She didn't have a car, so I arranged one for her. For convenience. It wasn't a gift. He quickly pulled up a document on his phone, a purchase record. A car worth over $1 million, listed under the company's name. His expression was cautious, almost pleading, like he wanted credit. I know my limits. Even if I really wanted to give it to her, how could I not discuss it with you first? Every base covered, no flaws to be found. I turned away, silent again, watching the sunrise. The sun was halfway risen, spilling gold across the world. The dawn's brilliance, it was just like 10 years ago. That first time Joel brought me here, he'd been ready to confess, palms sweating with nerves. At the exact moment of sunrise, he'd grabbed my hand, words tumbling out in stammers. Now, another sunrise, still me and him, 10 years gone, the scenery unchanged. Perhaps this is where the cruelty of time lies. Landscapes preserve memory, but people never return to who they once were. As the sun finally broke free of the clouds, I rose to my feet. Joel stayed seated, looking up at me. "Celina, what is it you really want to say?" "Joel, let's get divorced." The words left us both at once. Joel froze. I smiled at him. "Divorce? Joel, the house is in my name, I'll keep it. The savings, we split 50-50. As for the company shares, I'll sell mine as soon as possible. You can move out today." The long-stilled wind suddenly picked up, whipping through my hair, rattling Joel's next words. "Celina? Do you even know what you're saying?" Chapter 9. Love and marriage are like a train and its tracks. Once the train derails, there's no way back. That was what I realized as I climbed the mountain. Once you understand that, the decision becomes easy. "Joel." I lowered my gaze, looking at the man whose eyes were bloodshot and rimmed with red. 10 years together. And this was the first time I examined him like this, like an outsider. "I know very well. I am clear-headed. But I want to ask you, do you even know what you're doing? Eva is the girl you watched grow up as your little sister. When you were kissing and holding her, did you ever think about what you were doing?" Joel's face drained of color. Inch by inch, he shot to his feet, eyes wide with panic. "Celina, I didn't. You haven't gone all the way with her yet." "I know." I cut him off, my voice flat. "You said you never betrayed me, that you never cheated. What you really meant was just that, right? Emotionally unfaithful, but physically untouched?" I gave a cold laugh, staring into his trembling eyes. "Joel, how long do you think you can hold that line? A week? 10 days? 2 weeks? And then what? Will you confess to me? Tell me you slept with your own cousin, and wait for me to divorce you?" "No, you won't. You'll cover it up." scrambled to hide, living in constant fear, eaten alive by guilt and shame, becoming exactly the kind of man you've always hated, the one you swore you'd never be. I let out a breath, smiling bitterly. Oh, wait, no, Joel, you already are. More than 20 years ago, Joel's father cheated with a female colleague, abandoned his wife and child, leaving young Joel without a father, without a happy home. Joel had sworn to me countless times, in this lifetime, I will always be faithful to you. I will never betray you. But vows, once broken, become knives that stab deeper with every memory. Joel staggered, pale as chalk, collapsing into a chair. His head hung low, too crushed to speak another word. Joel, you really are disgusting. I looked down at him for a long while, then lost all interest in speaking further. If you don't move out before tonight, I'll change the locks. The divorce papers will be sent to your office tomorrow. Take care of yourself. Chapter 10. The path down was much quicker than the climb up. In just 10 minutes, I was back at the foot of the mountain. Eva hadn't stayed in the car like Joel told her to. She was staring up toward the trail, face pale with anxiety. When she saw me come down alone, her face went white. Celina, where's Joel? What did you do to him? She screamed, lunging at me, manicured nails reaching for my face. I frowned, caught her wrist with my left hand, and slapped her hard with my right. The sharp crack echoed in the dawn air. Eva froze, stunned, clutching her cheek in disbelief. You. She couldn't even finish. I arched a brow, surprised she didn't start cursing. Smiling faintly, I asked, does it hurt? No need to thank me. That slap is just me helping you get used to the feeling in advance. She was still young, her eyes filled with tears, not understanding. Joel's still up on the mountain. I couldn't be bothered to explain further. Turning toward my own car. You came to pick him up, didn't you? Go. He needs you right now. I watched her stumble toward the trail, heels catching in the dirt as she ran up the path. Just as I was about to start my engine, my phone rang. On the other end was a kindly female voice. Celina, dear, you didn't forget it's Grandma's birthday today, did you? When will you and Joel be home? Joel's mother, for 5 years. I had called her mom. Saying it out loud, the truth ripped something deep inside me. But I knew she would understand my pain best. Mom, Joel cheated with Eva. I'm divorcing him. A sharp gasp, then silence. The line stayed quiet for more than 10 seconds before it was abruptly hung up amidst chaos. I froze, realizing something. Joel's mother had trouble hearing. She always kept her phone on speaker. And today was Grandma's birthday. The whole family would be there. That call had probably just told them all. What would Joel and Eva face now? I curved my lips into a faint smile and started the car. Whatever happens to them has nothing to do with me anymore. Chapter 11. After 2 sleepless days and nights, I was so exhausted I could barely think straight. I picked a decent hotel at random, turned off my phone, and collapsed into bed. When I woke again, the sky outside was already pitch black. The moment I powered on my phone, it buzzed nonstop. Dozens of missed calls and message notifications, half from Joel, the other half from my parents. Pressing my temples against the pounding headache, I steadied my emotions before dialing my mother back. The dial tone had barely rung once before she answered at lightning speed. I frowned, not even managing to speak before her furious voice lashed out. You ungrateful child. You finally turned on your phone? 10 years of love aren't easy to come by. Arguments are normal. Fine. But divorce? How could you throw that word around so casually? Just wait until I see you. You'll see how I deal with you. The noise in the background made it obvious. She wasn't at home. She was already on her way to me. In that moment of silence, all the tears I had been holding back vanished. Joel cheated. It wasn't complicated. Just one sentence was enough. On the other end, my mother choked up, and then another voice seized the phone. What did you just say? Who? Joel cheated? My father's furious voice roared. I knew it! That bastard sounded guilty as hell on the phone earlier. How dare he? Who gave him the courage to treat my daughter like this? Tell him to wash his neck clean and wait for me. I'll show him what's what. Sweetheart. My mother snatched the phone back, her voice trembling, breaking into sobs. Don't be afraid. Your dad and I are on our way. We'll be there tonight. Don't cry. You're not alone. We're here. We're here with you." Her words were disjointed, incoherent, but every syllable was heavy with worry. My eyes brimmed with tears again. I wanted to laugh softly and reassure her. "Don't worry. I'm fine." But my throat tightened too much to speak. When I finally hung up, I broke down in sobs. I wept for being middle-aged, yet still letting my parents worry over me. I wept for a love that had suddenly ended after 10 long years. I wept for all the years of devotion I'd given, for the time that could never be returned. But once the tears dried, I wiped my face clean. I still had a long, long life ahead of me. Chapter 12. After picking up my parents, we returned together to the home Joel and I had shared for 5 years. When the front door opened, I froze. The living room light was on. Joel, who should have already moved out, sat slumped on the sofa. Celina. The moment the door opened, he shot to his feet, but when he saw who stood at the entrance, he shrank back before stepping forward. I frowned as I took in his face. His cheek was bruised and swollen, dark circles blooming under both eyes, as if he'd been beaten. My mother clicked her tongue softly and squeezed my hand. My father, who had fumed the whole way and sworn he would beat Joel until he crawled, now looked suddenly conflicted. "Dad, let me handle this." Joel, with that battered face, forced a pitiful smile and reached to take the suitcase my father was dragging. "Don't call me Dad. I'm not your father." My father let out a harsh snort and pulled the suitcase away. Joel's hand hung in the air before he shifted his gaze toward my mother. "Mom, don't call me Mom. I'm not your mother." She was even angrier than my father, rolling her eyes as she brushed past him, dragging my father straight inside. They had once adored Joel. Now, they couldn't turn their backs on him fast enough. I stood in the doorway, torn between tears and laughter. Joel lingered awkwardly before finally meeting my eyes. His lips trembled soundlessly for a long while. "Celina." At last he managed to speak, but tears spilled over instantly. "Celina." His voice broke into a whisper, his whole body shaking as he wept. His back hunched, and all he could repeat was my name, over and over. 10 years cannot be faked. I hated him for what he had done, yet I couldn't bear the sight of him like this. My gaze drifted to the wedding photo on the entryway table, and my chest felt crushed beneath a heavy stone. I forced myself to speak first, swallowing back tears that threatened to choke me. After a steadying breath, I continued. "Joel, I already made myself clear this morning. This is the end for us. You don't need to put on this act, and you don't need to look pitiful in front of me. After the divorce, you still have Eva." "No." Joel's head snapped up, eyes red and nose streaming. "I've already told Eva, it's impossible between us. She tried to kill herself, slit her wrists. She's in the hospital right now. My uncle. He couldn't go on." He dropped to his knees, sobbing, fists pounding his own skull. I closed my eyes. In Joel's fatherless childhood, his uncle had given him the love of a father, and though Eva was only a stepdaughter, his uncle had cherished her as his own child. "Joel, what you destroyed with your own hands was more than just our 10 years together." Chapter 13. This world is fair. In this life, one must always pay the price for their own mistakes. I believe Joel understands this truth. Otherwise, he wouldn't be unable to utter even a single "I'm sorry" or "forgive me." I don't know how much time passed before Joel finally stopped wailing. Half crouching, half kneeling before me, he remained in silence for a long time, like a monk lost in meditation. "Go." I lowered my gaze, looking at the crown of his head. "It's late. My parents traveled a long way. They should get some rest." Joel slowly lifted his face. His lips twitched, as if he wanted to give me a smile, yet it twisted into an even more sorrowful curve. "Celina, I really regret it." The moment those words came out, the tears he had just managed to stop began to pour down again. "Truly, Celina, I regret it so much. I hate myself for not controlling it. I knew it. I knew it was wrong." Crying bitterly, he shifted from a crouch to kneeling, wrapping his arms around my legs, knocking his forehead against my knees over and over. "I knew it was wrong. Why did I do it? How could I have done something like this?" The tears I had held back for so long burst out uncontrollably. "Yes, Why did you? Why did you throw away a good life just to disgust me? I kicked him away, then raised my hand and slapped him hard across the face. While he was still stunned, I struck him again with another slap. Joel, these 2 slaps, consider them the lesson my parents would have given you. From now on, we're even. I flung the door wide open and pointed outside. Now do me the favor of getting out. Until the day we sign the divorce papers. I don't want to see you again. Joel sat there in a daze, unmoving. You bastard. Get out! My father, who had probably overheard the whole thing, came charging out with a mop at the critical moment. I decisively turned away, leaving the battlefield to him, burning with righteous fury. When I washed my face in the bathroom and came back out, Joel had already been beaten and thrown out. Dad and Mom worked together, carefully taking down one by one the wedding photos of Joel and me from the wall. I stared at the abrupt white frames left behind, dazed for a moment. What are you thinking about? Mom leaned closer and hugged me. I curved my lips at her, then hugged her back. I was thinking, maybe we should put up some new frames on the wall, like a family portrait? Or maybe a couple's photo of you and Dad? Mom fixed her gaze on me for a long moment, and then her eyes lit up. All of them. All of them. She swung the rag in her hand, happily rushing off to find Dad. Tomorrow, hubby, tomorrow we'll go take pictures with our daughter. I quietly raised my hand to wipe away the sudden tears at the corner of my eyes. Outside, the night was deep, the moon shone bright, the sky clear, not a single cloud in sight. Tomorrow will definitely be a sunny day, perfect for taking pictures.